Brianna Aldrich, joined by Joe Hoyt from Dallas Morning News on a Thursday for Week 6 matchup. Another very important matchup for this Cowboys team who really needs to start stacking these wins. But it looks like they're going to have to do it with a lot of injuries. Once again, that list just came out not that long ago, and I counted 21, if I counted correctly.
I think you're right, and it's kind of crazy. After yesterday's practice, I was like, there's no way it could add to this, and I feel like they just kind of keep adding. They're trying to stack wins. They're stacking names on the injury report right now. But there is some good news. They got Donovan Wilson back, had a nice elbow guard out there. Kevontae Turpin not expected to play on Sunday. He was very honest with us about that. So we'll kind of see where that goes. Joe Milton has a personal thing, so that's why he was out. But yeah, there's some concerns. I think the big kind of curious one was Jonathan Mingo. Going from a DNP today to after practicing full the other day. We're curious to see when his window opens. We might have had a Jonathan Mingo revenge game in addition to the Rico Dowdle revenge game. Maybe not after that injury report today.
Yeah, I know, because Mingo, interesting to see what he's doing, because that was a conversation going into this before of all the injuries of how he was going to push that wide receiver 3 conversation. And now wide receiver 3 looks like to be the Flanoy era right now.
It might be the Ryan Flanoy show, and kind of a testament to him. I think last year he kind of came in, and if you look at his path, he's played at a lot of small schools. He himself was kind of a late developing prospect, kind of a smaller guy, and he kind of figured it out a little bit later. And last year it kind of looked like he's just a little bit out of place, but he did a lot of work in the offseason. He got a wide receiver trainer for the first time in his life. Here in North Texas, we know that wide receiver trainers, they start working with kids when they're 8 years old. Well, Ryan Flanoy, an NFL receiver, started this past offseason, and it's showing up. I think one of the more interesting things about what Brian Schottenheimer talked about this week was we know that he calls plays for players, right? Well, he called that big third down that really kind of got things going for Ryan Flanoy. He was the first guy in that progression, and then he broke a tackle, went down the sideline, set off the confidence for the rest of the game, and I think that he's been fantastic.
And the other exciting part about this offense, which I love talking about because we get to talk about a run game, and that was not a conversation last season at all. Yesterday we talked a lot about Rico because he made some comments to the media, about buckling up. But today we get to talk about Javonte Williams, what we got on our side, which I think Schottenheimer can agree this was the right choice for this team.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think Javonte Williams in particular has been such a revelation for the Cowboys. And it's kind of cool for him. He gets to go back home to Carolina. But I've talked to his dad earlier this week, and one thing he said was, when he called me and told me I'm going to sign with the Dallas Cowboys, he said, I haven't heard Javonte been that happy since his rookie year in Denver. Javonte looks happy. He looks like he's on cloud 9 a little bit, and he looks very physical. I think that's one thing that kind of going into the season, we didn't know what their backfield would look like. We thought maybe running back by committee with Jaden Blue and all that stuff. Javonte Williams averaging nearly 6 yards a carry. He's averaging nearly 2 yards a carry over expected, which means that he's making almost 2 yards on his own. Recently, we saw that in that 1 3rd and 1 where he broke a tackle. Long story short, Javonte Williams has been kind of the straw that stirs the drink for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely a fun guy to watch, and I'm okay of never hearing running back by committee. Yeah. I don't know about you. I'm good if we don't hear that. But a big testament to what he's able to do. We got to talk about the offensive line, what Clayton Adams has been cooking up. He's getting a lot of credit in there for offensive linemen not on the field. That's unheard of to still find success.
Yeah, and I talked to, he was a free agent at the time, but Will Hernandez was a guard with Arizona. I talked to him this offseason, and one thing he said is Clayton Adams is going to be great for you guys because he is so multiple. And I think we hear multiplicity a lot with offenses. Clayton Adams, it practices what he preaches, though. They are not just a gap scheme offense. They're not just a zone scheme offense. They do everything, and I think that's a testament to what he does in terms of getting these guys prepared. They've been fantastic, and, I think last week, I know a lot of Cowboy fans got nervous when they said 4 offensive linemen starting out. What are you going to do?
I was nervous.
Yeah, understandably so. And I thought it was pretty seamless. I think Dak Prescott earns a lot of credit too in terms of getting the ball out and knowing where some of his weaknesses potentially might be in terms of blitz and pass protection. But right now, that offensive line is doing fantastic, and that is a testament to Connor Riley and Clayton Adams.
And you can just hear from Clayton Adams. Shout out to Patrick Walker today for his question when he was basically asking him if, the success, if they're where he wants to be. And we know that this run game is getting a lot of credit, but he's still like, no, we have a lot we could do and grow. And I think that's just it shows a lot what Clayton Adams is all about as a coach.
Yeah, no doubt. I think classic football coach, though, they're never satisfied. Yeah. There's always more to get. And I think they're natural perfectionists. But I'll tell you right now, objectively, externally, looking at this Cowboys running game, they are doing things that this team has not done in a long time on the ground. They have rushed for over 100 yards in each of the 5 games to start the season. First time that's been done since 2016. And I think, honestly, one of the cooler things about it, yes, Javonte Williams has been a constant. Yeah. There's been a lot of differences in how they've done it in terms of who they've played and how they've had to handle some of these losses in the offensive line. Clayton Adams deserves a lot of credit for what they're doing right now.
Last question for you. Who, in your mind, is the key to come out with the win against the Panthers when you're looking at the offense specifically? Like, who has to show up and show out?
I think it always starts with 4. And I know that's kind of a basic answer, but realistically, Dak Prescott is playing at an MVP type level right now. And kind of what I said like earlier, talking about the offensive line, there was a play where Nate Thomas, I asked him about this, where a guy got past him, and I was like, Nate, did you think like, hey, you're about to give up a sack? You know, like he started at left tackle this past week, and he's like 100%. And then Dak got rid of the ball, and he just knew. And I think Dak right now has so much command. He's in his 10th year, and he looks like a guy in his 10th year. Yeah. As long as Dak Prescott's playing this level, you know, I think that they have a chance to compete in every single game.
I agree. I think if you have Dak, I guess any QB right now in the league, our money's on Dak just because he's playing phenomenal. He feels great. He's seeing the field. Just excited to see what Prescott does against the Panthers this weekend. But that's going to be it for Brian Aldridge, for Joe Hoyt.